Hey friends, long time no see. I was away sick, but I am back. I hope you guys enjoyed my last video. I come back to you with a makeup transformation of a creepy clown. Not just any clown, but there is a Terrifier 2 movie out, and the Pale Girl. So haunting, so creepy. Children, creepy looking, and clowns, we gotta turn into her. And we're gonna tell some really spooky, scary stories in the process. So sit back, get your favorite snacks, and enjoy while I turn into the Pale Girl while telling some spooky stories. The first spooky story is from Region Purple online, saying when I was little, like 7 or 8, I woke up in my room in the middle of the night. There was a white lady, like if she was in a black and white movie, standing in my doorway. She was elderly, smiling her head off and waving strenuously at me. I freaked out because I didn't know who it was, and the whole black and white thing to me was very weird. So I ducked my head under the sheets and hid. While under there, I started smelling flowers. I ended up falling back asleep while I was still hiding. I told my parents the next day, figuring at this point that I just had a very scary dream. As soon as I described her, my dad asked if I smelled lavender. I wasn't sure, so he brought me one of my mom's candles, and it smelled very similar. He got this mystified look in his face and told me he thought it was my great-grandmother, who I'd never met before. She's the one who had my family's home built 140 years ago. She'd lived there and had died there. My dad has seen her a few times, and he always smelled her favorite flowers when he did. He thought he was crazy until I described her. I never saw her again, but I've often smelled lavender at my parents' house, particularly during important moments like high school graduations. I think she just likes to check up on us. This next story is from Advil Caplet online. My whole life I'd had the same exact dream all the time. In my dream, I'm walking down the hallway in my basement. Finally, when I reach the end of the hallway, a tall shadow grabs me, picks me up, and throws me down. I feel the pain in my back and the hand grabs my stomach. I hit the ground and fall into a hole that leads to a void. It's all white until a flash sends it red and yellow. 2 lines and a demonic being with a skull mask stand there and watch. I always wake up from the same exact dream covered in sweat. His mask is like that of a deer with antlers, and he wields a meat hook, and I'm not sure why. Whenever I'm having bad days, I get headaches and visions and dreams of everyone I love hung up with the same exact meat hook, hanging down from the sky in a black void with one over a headlight. I have mental problems and I see things, and it's always the tall black creature that grabs me in the beginning. When I walk, I become paranoid of my whereabouts and surroundings. I always feel like I see a lion ready to pounce. The worst part about all this is I can hear him speaking to me in ways nobody could understand. I feel him in his presence. I sense something is wrong and that I'm not safe. People either never believe me about this or think I'm crazy. But maybe I'm just going insane from how horrible my life is. But I await and fear the day that the dream, whatever is in my head, comes for me. And I fear that he will take my loved ones and everything else. To hope this is mental and not sane for the safety of them, of who I love. This next story is from Bastard Vampire Online. This happened to my granddad when he was in his early 20s in the 1950s. At the time, they were still living in a small barony called Killimange, Tipperary. Not too far from their farm, this old cairn built on top of a hill, which was feared by the locals. It is believed that the cairn is the burial mound of an evil shaman who was beheaded and cursed to walk the earth for all eternity. Thus the legend of the Dolan, aka the Headless Horseman, in the area began. Whatever. My granddad didn't really believe in such things as vengeful spirits or banshees or headless men terrorizing the living on horseback, holding its own grinning head up high in the air. He was very logical. Too skeptical for his own good, at least for a young country lad. But one cold, foggy night, it was the 4th day of September, only a few days into autumn. He was trying to make it home alone across the grassland after a conversation of moderate drinking at the local pub. Feeling a bit lightheaded, but still sober enough to not fall over rabbit holes speckling throughout the land, as he got further away from the street, the fog grew thicker around him, blurring his vision. He began to feel like he was being followed by someone or something in the dark. He said, "I didn't see anything or anybody though. The fog was too thick. It was too dark to see beyond the spill of my old flashlight, but I knew they were there. I could feel it." So he quickened his pace and took a sharp turn to the left, trying to make a run for a nearby church that was adjacent to the western edge of a grassland. And whatever it was behind him followed him. He could hear heavy footsteps behind him. He started hyperventilating mid-run because it hit him. He was being followed by the devil himself. There are legends of vengeful spirits from ancient times that lurk in the mists at night, waiting for an unwary streetwalker to attack and harass. My grandpa was too well aware of these legends, which he had somehow decided to ignore for years. It now seemed all more too real to him, being followed in the dark like that. He glanced back and what he saw would forever haunt him. It was a dark figure, gaunt and ashen, had emerged from the thickening fog, dressed in drab in a dark gray cloak, hovering over the ground, holding a charred-looking arm out towards him, spreading it absolutely devoid of any sign of humanity or the suspicion of it ever had indeed been a human at once. There were 2 dark draping holes where its eyes should have been, peering into his soul as it floated closer. My granddad ran faster, screaming and calling out for help, to whoever could hear him with no avail. The freezing cold September breeze was carrying his voice away through the fog, but he kept running and running until his chest burned and he started to feel out of breath. The thing following him was still right behind him. He could feel the icy cold fingers brushing against his nape of his neck. That's when he tripped over his own feet and landed so hard on the ground he broke his nose and lost consciousness. When he came to and raised his head, he found himself lying in the grass next to the old cairn up on the hill. It was already morning. He got up quick and ran back to the farm and found out he had been missing for 2 whole days. Every September the 4th, as midnight approached, he would always have night terrors and vivid dreams, so horrifying that he had finally refused to go to sleep. Instead, stayed up until early morning. When I asked him if he would still have those nightmares, if he fell asleep on the night of September 4th to the 5th, today, he said he had no idea. He stopped trying to find out decades ago. And those are some spooky stories. I hope you enjoyed today's video of me turning into the pale girl from the Terrifier 2 movie. This was so much fun to do and to hang out with y'all and tell these spooky stories while turning into this creepy character. I hope it doesn't give you nightmares. All the products I use in this video will be listed down below in the description box. Taking off clown white makeup is so incredibly hard, just as hard it is to put it on without having as much streaking or problems with black and white makeup could be incredibly hard. I appreciate you guys following and subscribing and liking these videos. I will be back again, videos every Friday. You could definitely also follow me on not only here but on Instagram as well. We do live shows on Amazon online and you will be notified if you follow my Instagram. We have TikTok as well. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks again for watching and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.